American hypocrisy is a bottomless swamp of corruption. Let me say that again. American hypocrisy is a bottomless swamp of corruption. What I mean by bottomless, I mean we've passed any point that you could look back on and say, well, that ought to have woken these people up. When will they wake up? They're not waking up, and they're not going to wake up. That's why I say it's bottomless. It's so deranged that it's self-destructive. And when you're self-destructing, it can't possibly be rational. So we're in this world of irrationality. It can be the deficit. It can be Wall Street crime, racism. The Sandusky-Paterno Penn State case is a perfect example. I watched the president of Penn State addressing the National Press Club. It was televised by C-SPAN. And he said, the president, this is the new president, because they're going after criminally the past president and the athletic director that were hooked up with Paterno in the Sandusky case. The new president said that they were protecting the reputation of Penn State. If they were protecting the reputation of Penn State, they would have blown the whistle on Sandusky when the coach named McQueary witnessed Sandusky raping some kid in the shower at Penn State, and then told Paterno, who didn't report it to law enforcement, reported it to the athletic director, and I think the campus police, and then the president, and they all sat on it and just looked the other way until it finally blew up. But here's the point. You would think that if you're going to jump into a criminal conspiracy, raping a kid in a shower is clearly a criminal conspiracy, that you would have some benefit from it. You would have something in return from it. For instance, bribery. Okay, the whole country is watching the entire government be bribed, which they now, which they call campaign finance. There's only one congressman named Jefferson from Louisiana who, for some absurd reason, put about $90,000 in cash in a freezer. And he is doing 13 years. So, in other words, if you don't put the money in the freezer, it's not a crime. It's legitimate. That the Supreme Court of the United States rules that there's no limit. There's no limit to the bribery. I mean, how crazy is that? They call it free speech. Well, see if your money will actually speak. Put it on the table and see if you can hear it, because you can't. So, money is nothing but bribery. It has nothing to do with free speech. And there's my point about this hypocrisy. We call money free speech. We call bribery campaign finance. We let the bankers who completely destroyed the banking industry take $43 billion, effectively embezzling it, but they call it a bonus. Now, do you pay people bonuses when they destroy the job that they're working for? They get a bonus for that? I mean, is that absurd? How crazy can you possibly get? I'm working on a lawsuit right now where this company called PIMCO, which is the largest fund in the world, 1.3 trillion, was accused in a lawsuit in 2005 for rigging the treasury market. And finally, in 2011, they settled the case with $118,750,000 and kept saying that they denied any wrongdoing. In fact, they said, and this is true, that the CFTC, the Commodity Future Trading Commission, would validate that. And that's the point. They are completely corrupt, the Commodity Futures Commission. So, in my case that I filed a few months ago, which I will not have an amended complaint, I'm just waiting for one more motion to dismiss this case before I file the amended complaint. And I mean, the idea that $118 million is a settlement where there was no wrongdoing. What, is there a particular amount of money? Like would 250 million or 500 million or what make it impossible to deny the wrongdoing? No, of course not. It's an arbitrary number. So whether it's 118 million or 118 pennies, when you're really not guilty, you don't pay. You don't pay, and then you go to trial. You don't even try to drag it out for 6 years. Try to get the case dismissed. Appeal it twice. Lose every time. And have the nerve to claim nothing was wrong. There was no crime. There was no fraud. You just paid it, right? Just paid 118 million. You paid 118 pennies. Why? Why would you pay it? Why? Why isn't that just an admission of guilt, period? You see? I mean, what is the amount? Is there a number? Is there a line that says, okay, this is it? If they pay up to X amount, it doesn't admit guilt. And above that X amount, it admits guilt. No, of course not. You see, that's why it's bottomless. That's why I'm saying American hypocrisy as a bottomless swamp of corruption. Now, I went to the CFTC and I went to the Department of Justice, and they just ignore it. They don't even answer. So, believe me, they are going to be called as witnesses unless this judge dismisses the case. And I'll tell you this, that what I'm asking this judge to do, if she has any desire, any hope for America, any concern that America is on such a wrong track, and that the judicial branch can be the branch that stops this craziness from the executive branch that's completely off the wall in another galaxy, and the legislative branch. The fact that the founding fathers gave the judicial branch a lifetime appointment so that they wouldn't have to worry about getting elected. They wouldn't have any reason to kick back or in any way benefit the people who appointed them, or even the people who appointed them were long gone, anybody in the government. So oh, there's this rule called absolute immunity. And they wonder why there's an epidemic of fraud. Because all of the officials in the Department of Justice, the SEC, remember the Madoff case, the CFTC, are all eliminated from any wrongdoing by unlimited, absolute immunity. Now you give immunity to people who are guilty, who are going to plead guilty, and in return for their testimony, you give them immunity so that they can assist the prosecution. You don't give them immunity to people before they ever commit any crimes. Because what happens is they commit crimes because they have immunity. Okay? So that is completely irrational and nuts. So you see, when I say that American hypocrisy is a bottomless swamp of corruption, that's what I'm talking about. Now, what about the media? The media is right in bed with this stuff. I'm going to go to the Stanford Advocate. I am going to send this YouTube to the Stanford Advocate. And I hope they will at least listen for 12 or 13 minutes to what I'm saying. And really consider the opportunity that they have as journalists to bust this whole situation wide open. Do I think they will? No, I don't. Do I hope they will? Of course I do. Because it's in their benefit. It's in their own personal benefit for a Pulitzer Prize to actually expose by publishing the stories that I'm going to give them, that I can substantiate with court records. So why wouldn't they? They all claim to want to break the news. They all claim that they want a Pulitzer Prize for doing something uniquely beneficial. So why wouldn't they take this opportunity? Why would they jump in bed like Joe Paterno jumped in bed with Sandusky and get himself all screwed up? Okay? Now, will the Stanford Advocate get themselves all screwed up? Maybe not. Who knows? I mean, nobody watches these YouTubes and says, holy cow, this guy's really right. America is completely destroying itself. We're just looking the other way on Sandusky and a whole bunch of stuff. And so this has to backfire. The fiscal cliff has to backfire. They have no intentions of eliminating this deficit legitimately, because the rich people who pay the bribes, they don't want to pay. They don't want to pay. That's why they say, oh, well, just take the loopholes. So who knows what the loopholes are going to be. So they'll make up another loophole that'll go around the loophole that they knock out. You don't know. Okay? The code, the tax code is, what, 70,000 pages? Who would know? You understand? That's why they don't want the rate to be reduced. That we would know, okay, the rate's reduced, that's it. I mean, that's what they want, the rate to be reduced. Instead of, okay, leave the rate alone. Go bring it back to where Clinton had it. So that they have to pay. Oh, and don't let them put their money in the Cayman Islands or Switzerland or any place. No place, okay? To dodge the taxes like Romney did. Don't allow it. But no, that's the point. That's the corruption. Okay, it goes on and on and on. There's no end to this. And we're going to wipe out this whole country, this fantastic country. We're going to wipe it out because the people are nuts. That's all I have for the moment.